For the next celebration of the evening, it is my pleasure to invite some special guests to the podium to honor our colleague, Director Susan Miller. Dr. Hill and Ms. Van Scoik, please come to the podium.
Good evening. So we didn't know we could break our speech up, but we're going to ad-lib a little bit. So I'm Donetris Hill, Community Superintendent for Lakewood and Alameda, and also last year I was a Community Superintendent that served in Jefferson along with Director Miller. And joining me is the lovely Miss Susie Van Scoik, Principal at Alameda Junior Senior High School. We are pleased tonight to recognize Susan Miller for her service to Jeffco Public Schools. Elected to the Jeffco Board of Education in 2019, Susan has served as Director of District 4 for the past 4 years. Like President Schooley, Susan's term on the board included riding out a global pandemic and dealing with its after effects. From her first day of service to her last, Susan's priority has always been Jeffco students. Her personal commitment to high quality education, along with her professional expertise in the field, continuously comes through in her questions on important topics like student achievement and financial stewardship. And I'm going to give a moment now for Ms. Van Scoik to come and share something that's very dear to her.
I would say dear to both of us, because as we speak, a fabulous Strive community clinic for the families in the Alameda area is being constructed, and I'm going to invite you to the ribbon cutting. Thank you so much for all you've done for our community.
Over the past 4 years, Susan has consistently worked within the confines of her role as a board member to make her decisions align with policy, raise issues around financial sustainability, and advocate for her stakeholder interests and investments, such as the Strive Clinic. Through the recent school closure process, Susan served as a sense maker to constituents throughout the school district. She was willing to meet with anyone who asked, even at the expense sometimes of me saying, we don't need to meet with them. But she was able to put the regional opportunities for thriving schools work into a context that included her long history with the district as a parent, as well as her professional experience with districts experiencing similar challenges across the nation. Susan is always looking for that explicit link between district priorities and investments and student outcomes. She has high expectations for Jeffco schools and constantly pushes on district leadership to provide every child with the education that they deserve. We see the urgency in Susan's approach to board service as an indication of the possibility and potential she sees in our students, in us as leaders, and in our school district. It's a possibility and potential that we are inspired to reach. Please join us in honoring Susan for her dedicated commitment to public education and legacy of lasting impact that she leaves on the Jeffco community and all of the schools in District 4.
My name is Leslie Reynolds. I live in Arvada, and I'm here to honor Susan Miller. Good evening, Jeffco board members. I speak to you tonight as a 1976 graduate of Wheat Ridge High School, a mother of 5 graduates from Jeffco Public Schools, a grandmother of 5 current Jeffco students, 2 incoming kindergartners next year, and 3 future Jeffco students. I speak as an educator holding a Colorado teaching certificate and a volunteer of countless hours in multiple Jeffco schools, meeting with numerous teachers, counselors, and principals on behalf of students in our district. For years, I have loved, supported, and been loyal to public education and Jeffco in particular. Tonight, I focus on inexpressible appreciation for a member of the Jeffco School Board who is serving in her last public meeting tonight. Reasonable, measured, accessible, devoted, respectful, objective, brilliant, and focused on student achievement and fiscal responsibility, thousands of families have looked to Susan Miller to represent the best interests of all students of Jefferson County. And Susan Miller has delivered. I publicly offer my deepest gratitude to Susan, who has tirelessly worked to put Jeffco in safer financial status, to lift all students to higher achievement, and to educate the public through accurate data. I deeply value the grace with which Susan faced challenging behavior from other board members in public meetings during her term of service. I'm thankful for her perseverance in presenting facts that matter and in seeking accountability for disappearing funds, overages, and budget concerns, and for her personal attention to individual parents and community members. I stand in awe. She never wavered, and against a tidal wave of opposition on the board, stood firm and solid in her position on behalf of our community and our children's education. Susan Miller is an individual of great intelligence, integrity, patience, refinement, and wisdom. In her public service, she has left a legacy of sacrifice and honor. The whole of Jefferson County has only been made better as a result of Susan Miller's work. Susan, we will miss you more than you know. May life bring you all the best as you move forward into new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Armstrong from Arvada, and I'm here to speak about Ms. Miller's service. Everybody's a doctor, always. Ms. Miller's service. I'm here tonight to celebrate Board Director Susan Miller's term, and I'm not often at a loss for words, but I find myself short of the right ones to express my gratitude for her example. So I'm going to start with policy, naturally. When Ms. Miller began her term, there was a policy since rescinded that stated, "It is important that the candidate be seriously and honestly interested in serving the whole school district for the best interest of all children. Board members shall be nonpartisan in dealing with school matters. The board does not wish to subordinate the education of children and youth to any partisan principle, group interest, or personal ambition." I can't think of anyone who has more faithfully embodied those ideals. I cast my vote 4 years ago for Ms. Miller, impressed by her rational and thoughtful approach to governance, and didn't think much of it until the pandemic. And that's when I first clearly saw that not only was her focus always on the welfare of children, all children, she was dogged and fearless in her advocacy for them. But students, or little people, as she often calls them, were her focus all along and long before I noticed. She fought hard to keep dialogue open and keep children from being used as leverage by insisting that their needs and well-being always be primary and that solutions be evidence-based and rigorous. She has been a steadfast and bright beacon for parents and families in this district, and I can't let her leave office without knowing how very grateful we are, how grateful I am, for her work and her example. I know that this can be a thankless, difficult, time-consuming volunteer job, and Ms. Miller always shows up and is always prepared to ask hard questions and to speak cordially but plainly, and she's inspired me to dig deeper, pay attention, and be informed enough to ask my own questions. I was discussing some concerns with her once, and in her inimitable style, she said, "I hear you, but where's the hope?" And I want her to know that she has been such a source of hope for me and my family and families in this district. The truth is that she stood watch for our children, my children, before I knew a watch needed standing. And though I hope she stays engaged, and I suspect she will, I want her to know that she has informed and motivated thousands of parents, including me, and that we'll continue the watch from here. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Welcome. If you wouldn't mind just introducing the members of your group, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
My name is Lindsay Datko from Arvada. Mrs. Marie Bagley from Arvada, and Kendra Curry and Tom Coyne. I'm here tonight to make my best but inadequate effort to honor the work of Director Susan Miller, who has nobly embodied the definition of a public servant for the past 4 years in Jefferson County. Ms. Miller once told me that in every decision-making circumstance, a symbolic small chair should be placed in the middle of the room. This way, the children of Jefferson County would never be forgotten as decisions were made. Her focus on children won her the election. Her signature catchphrase has always been, "How are the children?" And she has lived up to her commitment to prioritize and serve the needs of Jeffco children with every breath and action she has taken. On November 6th, 2019, the day after she was elected, Chalkbeat Colorado wrote, "Jeffco School Board gets a critical new voice as Susan Miller takes seat. A previously unanimous union-backed Jeffco School Board will get a new dissenting voice." And since that day, Ms. Miller did indeed become a very important, standalone, yet essential voice for the Jeffco community. She would go on to address concerns surrounding the deeper learning strategy from the previous superintendent. She ensured the community understood the reality of Jeffco's achievement results, which have been declining for all student groups for almost 25 years. And she did her best to improve them by pushing for new curriculum and convincing the district to try MAP Growth and Khan Academy's MAP Accelerator. Academic achievement was her mission. She cared deeply about our children's academic accomplishment, growth, their dreams, and their futures. Having been the president of JAGSI, she advocated for gifted students and their unique needs. She showed consistent concern for our minority and Title I students and worked hard to elevate their academic needs. She argued against insufficient pay for the very important educational support staff. As a municipal financial advisor and former Standard & Poor's credit rating officer, she encouraged the decision to invest in a modern financial management system for a $1.4 billion district. She provided transparency of the many capital program challenges, whose cost has ballooned to $856 million due to cost overruns and projects not disclosed to the voters she represented. She convinced the Superintendent Dorland to commission an independent review of the capital program by Moss Adams, a leading provider of independent school bond program audits. She strenuously dissented against the board's decision to take $17 million meant to recover COVID learning losses at a critical time and gift it to the city of Arvada. She fought to put the Stride Clinic back in the Alameda Junior and Senior High School, where it had successfully operated for more than a decade. She pushed back hard against cutting back capital spending at Wheat Ridge High School. She led the charge for her moral obligation to rebuild Fletcher Miller School for our most disabled students. During COVID, she fought courageously to keep our children in school and then return our children to school. She gave speeches and published professional, research-based risk management approaches to the uncertainties we faced. She objected to prolonged restrictions that were hindering our children's development. She was consistently the only vocal elected hope on the dais for thousands of parents with suffering children. She continues to be a voice for the COVID generation. Before her election, she served on charter school boards so she could understand the issues they faced on a regular basis. She co-led the Jeffco Charter School Consortium, a vital communication hub for charters. And during her time on the board, she has advocated for charter schools, provided important data analysis, and attended charter events all over the district. She is a champion of school choice, which nearly half of Jeffco families engage in. She took the time to solve problems with and for individual parents who felt they had nowhere else to go, and reached out to her with concerns ranging from serious to earth-shattering for families. She listened sympathetically and followed up faithfully. She was a champion for parents. She embraced all who reached out to her, never hesitant to listen to any particular voice and problem solve. She led with her intellect as well as her heart and provided the perfect example of the art of diplomacy. She is proof that a lone minority voice can have a massive impact and make significant change through listening, research, hard work, sincere relationships, and principled determination. So let it be known that Ms. Miller's tireless board governance work has been seen, honored, and deeply appreciated by thousands. She has left a rare legacy of a pure focus on children and their prioritized needs, a legacy of wisdom, accuracy, thoughtfulness, kindness, bridge building, and conviction. She has fulfilled her board governance role and lived up to her commitments with complete integrity. The community who found a voice in Ms. Miller has hope that her powerful legacy and influence will have nowhere to go but to live on in the Board of Education. That the many voices she tirelessly represented will continue to be heard and have a seat at the board table. That the tiny chair will show up in every meeting room, and the question will continually be asked in her honor: how are the children? For thousands of parents and community members you served, Ms. Miller, we thank you and we give you a standing ovation all over this district.